A lot of journalists are not taking Black Myth Wukong's success very well right now. They're melting down in articles on social media, and the IGN journalist Rebecca Valentine, who had levied the accusations of sexism towards game science back in November of last year, decided to recently leave social media, but before she did, she decided to go to ResetEra to try and double and triple down on that awful report. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, Black Myth Wukong is massively successful already, over 2.3 million concurrent players at one single time is crazy to see. Number 2 most played game on Steam for concurrent players, of course, and the number 1 single player. It is breaking tons of records already, and I think that we are only going to continue to see a lot of success with Black Myth Wukong and also game science. But this Journo, or she's really an activist, Rebecca Valentine, the reporter at IGN who initially levied the accusations of sexism at game science, had just left social media because she said she was receiving a lot of backlash and she didn't want to have to deal with that. She, of course, had posted that article publicly, put her name on this public piece, and I have to say, when you're a journalist, you are a public figure, and you have to deal with the fact that people are going to criticize your opinions because you're basically just making money off of them. And now she has decided to take to ResetEra to try to get people to pat her on the back and say, "You're such an amazing journalist." Now, ResetEra is filled with a lot of losers, in my opinion. Lots of social justice warriors who will go to bat for journos and the mainstream media, and that is exactly what is happening in this thread. But she decided to go and double and triple down on this awful and mistranslated report by saying people are just straight up lying about my work. So she started off with saying, "Thank you all so much. Nihun and I are extremely confident in our work." That is the individual who had done the translating, and they obviously did an extremely poor and inaccurate job, which I'll get into in a minute. "We checked and verified everything very diligently. I'd go so far as to say this is my proudest work as a journalist so far, even if I wish it wasn't necessary. But I won't pretend that getting dozens of emails and tags on socials daily accusing me of mistranslating or whatever doesn't occasionally worm its way into my brain. I feel like I'm being gaslit every time I log on." Okay, so she is saying that people are accusing her of mistranslating. No, people are calling out the mistranslating because there are several quotes that they used in that report that, yes, are in fact mistranslated. Here is just one. "The snake spirit is different from what I imagined, but if I cover the bottom half with my hand, it's still possible to jerk off." That's what they claimed in the article was said. But what was actually said, and again, this is verified by several sources, "It's not what I expected, but it's not impossible to cover the bottom half of the body with your hand. It's not impossible." In no way, shape, or form was the term jerk off used. Here's another. It says, "Well, I think this report is a joke. Loads of mistranslations on purpose, like how they mistranslated 'you will be used to it' to 'you can jerk off.' With it, nowhere do they use the term jerk off. I don't know why they would ever think, oh yeah, let's publish this report that clearly, intentionally mistranslates certain quotes in order to fit our sexism narrative." Mr. Nihun, this individual who did this translating, clearly has his own political agenda, and the whole entire article is taking things out of context. It's absolutely insane. Here's another. "I want to expand my circle and hire more people, get licked until I can't get an erection." And it says the text translates literally to, "We want to expand the circle and recruit a few more people, but got licked to the point of being unable to get an erection," the phrase, or one of them in this, is used as an idiom in the Chinese language as a colloquial term used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery or sycophancy has an overwhelming and paralyzing effect on someone. The use of such metaphors can be found in informal speech or on social media. And yes, I will sit here and I will admit that some of these are kind of distasteful, right? Smutty humor that maybe not everybody likes, and it's fine if you don't like this humor, but at the end of the day, that's what it is these are jokes and things that are really not to be taken seriously. Do I think that he is a disgusting individual or that anyone on this project are disgusting individuals and that they hate women? No, these are not sexist remarks. Yes, again, you might find them distasteful, but that doesn't mean sexist. That doesn't mean that game science should be investigated for treating female employees improperly, and it doesn't mean that they don't want, females playing their games. These are ridiculous claims that IGN made, and Rebecca Valentine just cannot seem to cope with the fact that people are calling her out and her friend out on their BS. She says, "Genuinely, this is the worst I've ever been harassed. The last few days has been a nightmare." And obviously, I do not want her to be harassed, but the issue is that people like her take criticism and call it harassment time and time again. People are allowed to criticize you and your work and what you are doing on social media. It's just that simple. Maybe you shouldn't be a journalist who posts their articles for people to read if you don't want people to be talking about them. And there are many people on ResetEra who are not only patting her on the back, saying gamers are insufferable, entitled scumbags, sorry you have to experience that, but also people who are just kind of melting down over Black Myth Wukong's success, saying this whole thing has turned pretty ugly, this game isn't that good, it does not deserve this much attention, I won't be supporting this game after their ham-fisted attempt to censor discourse that has zero relation to the game. That did not happen. There were reports that, yes, they had all of these guidelines for reviewers, but those, let's be honest, were not real. Maybe ResetEra users don't understand, maybe they can't do research, but there were tons of journalists coming out saying this is not actually real, and the only one that said that it was real was Paul Tassi, a massive social justice warrior who is the last entertainment activist journo that I would ever believe on the face of this earth. Then the media tried to twist it into, oh, actually, it's social media influencer guidelines. And there were several who got codes who said, no, this actually isn't the case. I didn't receive this. So it's basically confirmed at this point that that is not real. So they can try to claim that it's a ham-fisted attempt to censor discourse, but none of the reviewers followed that because all of them mentioned the accusations against game science levied by IGN initially. All of them mentioned how, oh my gosh, we feel there's not enough women in this game. And there are tons of content creators who, again, got codes who are saying, basically anything they want within their pieces of content. They are not following these guidelines, so either game science isn't enforcing them or they're not real. And well, we've heard from several people that got codes who have said, nope, we didn't have to follow any sort of guidelines like this. So ResetEra is basically just in meltdown mode at this point, and so is Rebecca Valentine. It will be interesting to see if she decides to come back to social media because she left. But of course, at the very last minute, she just had to leave a post on ResetEra. I will be curious to see if she makes another statement and tries to double and triple down again. It seems that that's all that she's really focused on right now, calling us liars, calling us disgusting individuals who are gaslighting her, and the claims that we're making are batshit, even though we have proof and we have evidence that they are not. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.